Jeff. We just came from the Magic and event phase video, and we're here to talk about the next phase in line of a game of Freeblades, the movement phase. Arguably the most important phase of the game.
Yeah, I would say it's definitely the most important phase of the game.
So,
Yeah.
what kind of options do I have to move my models around the board?
Yeah, well, our movement phase goes as the priority player is going to move their models first, and then the second player is going to move their models. And in a multiplayer game of Freeblades, you're going to start with priority and just go around till the guy who rolled a 1 goes, and then that's how you're going to roll it. So our priority player. So you're a priority player in our demo here.
Okay.
And so you're going to get to move first. Now your characters have a number of different actions. We're just going to walk through all those different actions.
Okay.
So the first type of action that your character can do is maneuver action. And so that's just where you move your speed. Each character, as we saw in the stat card video, has a speed, and you can move up to your speed in inches.
Okay.
And you can end in combat if you want to. You can do this in conjunction with a special action if you want. And so you have lots of options on how to do that maneuver. There's very few restrictions on a maneuver. The second type of movement is a sprint. This is where your character can move up to twice their speed.
Very fast.
Yeah, very, very fast. Especially that Kashark there moving 18 inches on his turn. It's crazy. However, you can serpentine as much as you want during a sprint. However, you cannot end in contact, and you cannot perform a special action or an in-phase action or some different things.
So no picking up loot if you're sprinting.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you're just moving. That's all you're doing for the turn is moving.
Okay.
Right, but you're moving super fast. The next type of action is called a break-off action. Let's say you're in combat and you don't want to be in that combat. You can perform a break-off action. You can move up to your speed away from your opponent, and this is going to provoke a reaction attack. We'll talk about those later, but it's just know there's some risk involved with a break-off action for sure. And for the most part, that's all you can do with your turn is leave that combat and move up to your speed.
Gotcha.
All right, so that's a break-off action. This also avoids what we call the proximity rule, where the proximity rule is you're not allowed to move within 1 inch of an enemy unless you're going to engage them. In a break-off action, you can't engage another enemy, so it breaks that priority rule. You can move while you're doing that break-off action. The next type of movement is called a charge.
Oh, yeah.
This is really important, obviously.
It's my favorite when I'm riding dinosaurs.
Right, exactly. So a charge is where you can move up to twice your speed in a straight line and end in contact. And if you get at least 3 inches of movement out of that, you're going to get a charge bonus. It's going to give you +1 to hit in the melee phase, and we'll see how that affects the sequence of a melee phase as well. It's going to let you go first.
And we'll touch on that in the combat video?
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in the combat video. The next action that you can take is a hold action. You're on hold. You're not doing anything. You're just going to stand there and look cool.
Sounds good.
Archers tend to like this movement action. Next is delay. A delay action is where you roll a discipline test, and if you pass, and all discipline tests are target number 4, if you pass, you are on delay. And what this means, especially important for you, is that that model that is on delay is now the last model to act in the turn. So you're going to move the rest of your models, and then I'm going to move my models, and then your delayed model can choose their action.
So I'll get a little bit of counterplay on the delayed model.
Yeah, okay. You'll get to see what I do and then react to what I do.
Cool.
Which is pretty cool. Delay is really powerful, and normally you can only put 1 model on delay each turn, and only the first player can put a model on delay. The second player can't.
Yeah. Okay.
Next is rally. At some time during the game, your characters might panic. We'll talk about that in a second. And you're going to want to get them back into the fight. That's going to be a rally action. A panicked model may only choose a rally action.
Okay.
You'll have to, rally action allows you to make a discipline test. If you pass, and again, those are target number 4. If you pass, you are rallied. And what this allows you to do is it allows you to turn around and face whichever direction you want, and that is your turn.
Well, it gets you
But
back in the fight.
exactly, it gets you back in the fight.
And it's really important because facing matters.
It does.
So if you're running away, you can't see anything that's coming up behind you.
Right. So being able to turn around allows you to now react to those things. Next is panic. And there's two types of panic that we're going to go over. There's a direct panic and an indirect panic. As you might guess, panic is, oh crap, something has scared me and now I'm going to run away from it for the most part. And so a panic test is where you're going to roll a discipline test for a myriad of different reasons. You might have lost combat. You might have run into something that's terrifying, but you roll a discipline test, and if you fail, you're going to panic, and that's going to be a move away from the thing. So a failed rally test, as an example, will result in a panic.
Okay.
Okay. So a direct panic is, let's look at our combat here and say that my Jendal Blade Seeker has lost combat against your Kashark.
Okay.
I'm going to roll a discipline test, and I have failed. I rolled a 3, I needed a 4. And so now I'm going to panic. I'm going to roll a variable move, and panic is a type of variable move. Here's the bottom line, if you're speed 7 or lower, you're going to roll a d4 for that. If you're speed 8 or faster, you're going to roll a d6. Or if you're flying, you're going to roll a d6. And so you're going to move your speed plus whatever you rolled on the die. Those dice don't spike. And you're going to move that many inches directly away from the model that's causing the panic. So in this case, the Kashark is causing you panic because you lost combat. And so you're going to move 7 plus a d4 inches directly away from that model.
Okay. Do I have any chance to follow you?
Yeah, in that particular situation, you could try to chase me down. Okay. If you catch me, you're gonna kill me.
Nom nom.
Yep, and this is very bad for the Jendal Blade Seeker because you're quite a bit faster than me.
That's fair.
Yep, 9 plus a d6 or 7 plus a d4.
Yeah.
It's not looking good.
Not looking great.
Right, but that's a direct panic. The other way a direct panic could work is if you try and contact me while I'm already panicked, I'll make a direct panic move away from you.
Okay. So when do indirect panics come into play?
Yeah. So let's say you don't catch me. Next turn I roll to rally, and I get a 3 again, which fails my discipline test. Now I'm going to make an indirect panic move. There was no creature, monster, other enemy, other character that influenced that move or that discipline test or caused that discipline test. Yeah. So now I'm going to make a panic move toward the board edge.
Gotcha. And that's your deployment zone board
edge. Yeah, my
Good.
Deployment zone board edge. Good catch. Yeah, my deployment zone board edge. So those are the movement actions that we can take. You can see they're quite a bit. Maneuver, sprint, break off, charge, hold, delay, rally, and then 2 types of panic. Now, rally and those panic ones, something's gone wrong for you to choose those. Yeah. You can also voluntarily panic, actually, as a reaction, which we'll talk about in a moment.
Now, with all these types of movement and all the variables that you have in the game, there must be some way can you swim, climb, jump?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There's mobility talents. Each character has a baseline talent of their ability score, and it might be higher, and that will be listed on your card in talents and skills. But each character is allowed to roll their ability at least to make climb tests, to try and jump gaps, jump down things, or swim across or through deep water.
Okay.
And so there's lots of ways to play. We have some fine towers set up here, and so our characters could make climb tests to climb up those towers.
Yeah.
Should be really great.
Yeah, cool.
One other special note about our movement phase here is special actions. Pun unintentional. And so our special actions are things that you can do during the movement phase or elsewhere, like casting is a special action. And so special actions are a little bit more restrictive. You can only do a special action while on hold or while maneuvering. Those are the only 2 times that you can do special actions.
So if you, for say, you sprint during the turn, you're forgoing doing anything.
A special action, gotcha. Right. And so there's lots of different special actions. But in this case, our pikemen here wants to pick up this loot marker. So he's going to choose a maneuver action, and we see he's within his speed of 5 inches. So he moves over to the loot marker, and then he just performs a special action, and now he's acquired that loot marker. It's as simple as that. There are other times where you might have to make a strength test or a devices test or some other test in conjunction to pick up the item. But in this case, he's just going to walk over, perform a special action to pick it up.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that's special actions.
And then I get to do all this movement as the player with the priority. Do you, as the player without the priority, get to do anything in reaction to me?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. That's one thing I really like about our game is that you can react to what your opponent does. You're not just sitting there
drinking your coffee
while they ream you. Right? Yeah, so you can react. There are a number of different types of reactions, and I've alluded to a few of those. We're going to talk about our movement phase reactions. We've already talked about counterspelling, which is a type of reaction that can be done in the magic phase.
Okay, yeah.
Our movement phase reactions are countercharge. If you're charged, you can perform a countercharge action where you kind of meet in the middle. Mm-hmm. And if you get 3 inches of movement, you get a charge token. So this is a way to at least be on the same footing as an opponent who chooses to charge you. You can also choose to evade. So let's say your Packmaster here chooses to charge my caster. Well, I'm not particularly keen on my weak and pathetic caster fighting a Packmaster in melee.
Captain Abs.
Yeah, right.
Put the hurt on somebody.
Exactly. That trident. Oof. Anyway, so I might choose the evade reaction there. To do that, I make a discipline test. You guys can see how discipline is somewhat important in our game. Yeah. You'll make a discipline test, and if you pass, you can move a variable move away from your would-be attacker. So in this case, my Fire Wizard will move 7 plus a d4 inches directly away from the Packmaster. And your Packmaster will finish his charge out. If he can't catch me, then I have... Now, there is an option here for your Packmaster. Seeing that my Fire Wizard has maneuvered through the woods and away from him as a evade reaction means that the Packmaster is not going to be able to catch.
Yeah, no.
But he's going to pass within 1 inch of my Knight Defender. And so he can make a discipline test, and if he passes, he can redirect his charge into my Knight Defender. All of these reactions are done and chosen prior to any models being moved.
Okay.
And so if you pass that discipline test, you're going to be able to redirect into the Knight Defender, and the Knight Defender is going to get to choose a reaction. Okay. And he could choose to evade, or in this case, he'll choose to countercharge.
Yeah,
because he's all set to.
He's got the shield and the hammer ready to go.
The next type of reaction that you can do is called a counter move. So let's go back to say your Packmaster is choosing to target my Fire Wizard with a charge.
Yep.
A counter move is a special move that a model on hold can do. All of these reactions, by the way, actually, they require your model to be on hold. So the player that doesn't have priority, all of his models are on hold automatically, and then you kind of move out from there.
Got it.
Right? So my Knight Defender there has a little 4-inch bubble that if your Packmaster comes within 4 inches, I can choose to intercept at the moment that he comes within 4 inches, and then I can make a 4-inch move to counter move and get in his way. If I make contact with him, it's called an intercept.
If I chose as priority player to have my models on hold, if you move during your turn, do I still get to make this?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you choose to just leave your models on hold as priority player, then you have reactions that you can take against me as a secondary player.
Cool.
Yep. So in this case, actually, instead of evading with my Fire Wizard, my Knight Defender sees you're going to come within his little 4-inch bubble. He's going to choose to counter move, and you're going to get the charge bonus. I won't get 3 inches during my counter move, and so you get the charge bonus, and I
stop your wizard.
I stop my wizard from getting turned into thin red mist.
Got it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that's a counter move. The next type is called a ranged attack reaction. Ranged reaction attack. There we go. And if you're charging or going to maneuver into combat or come within 4 inches of a model with a ranged weapon, they can choose to reaction shoot you. And they'll make a shot. The reaction shot is made at -1 to the roll because it's a snapshot. They make it in the movement phase rather than the shooting phase, but all the other rules apply. And they just get to make that move. Now, a model that makes a ranged reaction attack is on hold during the movement phase. That's what they choose for their movement action.
Can you, if you do make that ranged attack in the movement phase, can you also make another ranged attack in the shooting phase?
No, that'll be their only attack for the turn, their ranged attack for the turn. And they're on hold. It's also important to know that you're only allowed 1 reaction per character.
Gotcha. Okay.
The next one is a break off reaction attack. And this is if you break off from combat, like we talked about, as you choose that as your movement, the model that you're engaged with gets to make an attack against you.
So very similar to like attacks of opportunity in role-playing games?
Very similar. The one important note is you are not able to employ any response talents against a break-off reaction attack.
Oh, so no parry, no dodge.
Right, none of that. Yeah, because
you're running away.
You're running away. It's they're behind you when they make that attack.
Okay.
So you're not able to make any of those attacks or those kind of response talents when you do it. This is a kind of risky move. There is a way to shut it down. If a model is engaged with another model.
So 2-on-1?
Yeah, 2-on-1. The player who has 2 characters there, one of them can make a break-off move, and the other character isn't subject to reaction attack because he's
too busy fighting
the other guy. That's right. Okay, the last one is a special action reaction attack. If you perform a special action while engaged, they get a reaction attack against you.
So that's similar to picking up a loot marker, casting a spell, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that takes place in the magic and movement phase is the special action. All the rest of these are movement phase reactions.
Gotcha.
Oh. And if you take a reaction, that is your turn. It consumes your turn unless it's a special action reaction attack or a break-off reaction attack. Those two don't consume your turn. You can still function on your turn.
Cool. So that seems to be all of the movement, reaction movement, special action stuff we can do.
So let's just review it. We'll just say it off, list it off one more time. You can move your speed as a maneuver. You can move twice your speed as a run, no engagement. You can leave combat with a break off. You can charge up to twice your speed in a straight line and end in combat. You can choose hold and do nothing and stand there. You can delay, where you get to act after your opponent with that particular model. You can rally if you're panicked. You might panic if you're going to be contacted by somebody or fail a rally test. You can pick up items using a special action or do other things with a special action. And then our reactions are countercharge, where you charge somebody who's charging you. Evade, where you run away from somebody who's charging you or going to contact you. Counter move, where you get in the way of somebody that's going to charge you, or going to charge a friend, rather. You can make a ranged reaction attack if somebody comes within 4 inches of you or is going to engage you. You can take a break-off reaction attack if somebody's trying to leave combat with you. And you can take a special action reaction attack if somebody does a special action while in contact with you.
Ooh, that's a whole lot.
That's a lot. Which is why this is the most important phase. There's a lot going on.
Yeah. Then it's part of what makes this game so unique and interesting, and how much you actually get to do in the moving of your models.
Yeah, there's a lot going on there, and that's why some people say that this is when you're moving models here, it's a little more like chess, because you are trying to think, okay, if I do this, my opponent's going to react in this way. As an example, I'm going to charge your wizard. Well, now I'm going to react by blocking you with my knight defender there.
Yeah.
All those little interactions make the movement phase a really, really interesting phase to play in.
Cool. And thanks, Jeff. We'll wrap up the movement phase with this, and the next video coming up is going to be the shooting phase.
Pew pew.
Pew. 21.